Hey scrapbook friends, it's Nicole and I'm back after quite a nice Christmas break with a layout idea that I have been promising you for a while. I showed this layout in one of my album flip throughs a few months back and I had somebody ask me about it, and I have been meaning to do this layout for you and just couldn't decide what papers to use. Anyway, excuses, but here I am. We called this the Swirl layout, and I do want to give credit that this is not my design. This is a sketch that came from Creative Memories. I believe this was in the National Scrapbook Day sketchbook from 2020, whenever Emerald Gemstone came out. If you earned the 110 sketches book from Creative Memories for our birthday celebration at the beginning of November, this sketch is also in that book. Unfortunately, because it is Creative Memories intellectual property, this is not a flyer that I can make available to you through my YouTube channel, but hopefully by watching the video, you'll be able to see just how to put this together, and you won't need the sketch. I don't need the sketch anymore now that I've learned how to do the technique. So this is a sample that I just put together to make sure I had my measurements right. This was using All My Love, which has recently retired, but I'm gonna go ahead and make this for you tonight with the Joy to the World, which is our Christmas paper pack. So you'll be able to watch the whole process, see how I do it, and hopefully be able to easily recreate your own. So what you're going to need for this layout is 2 base pieces. Actually, let me pull this one back out. You're going to need 2 base pieces. So look at your whatever paper pack you want to use. This is a great way to use a whole bunch of papers in a collection. So we're going to use the base pieces. Now you can use cardstock for these. You could even do this straight on an album page if you wanted to, or you can use kind of a finely textured, subtle design. I would not use this on a big busy pattern design just because it can be pretty busy. Then you're going to need 2 3 by 12 inch strips for the top borders right here, 3 by 12. Then you're going to need 10 circles cut with the medium custom cutting system pattern using the red blade on the inside. Then you need 1 large circle, red blade inside, and 1 small circle, blue blade outside. So think a lot about this. You want there to be some contrast between the circles. I know it looks complicated, but as soon as we get going, you're gonna see it's not that hard. And then you're gonna need a contrasting strip here, and then 3 strips along the bottom, a 1/2 inch, a 1/4 inch, and a 3/4 inch. So that's all here on the list of what you need if you want to quick screenshot these or write these down. If you do not have the Creative Memories custom cutting system, I did put the measurement of the circles that we're going to use. So if you need to cut them on your Cricut or you have dies or something like that. So that's what we're going to do with our Swirl layout. So the first thing is, let's start with our base pages. And here with Joy to the World, I decided I would use this kind of aqua colored paper that has this tiny little dot pattern on it. It's pretty subtle. It's a soft, pretty color, almost like a seafoam green. Not really a paper that we use for, that would, you necessarily think about Christmas, but I think it's gonna go well with these other papers. Then I had some scraps. I'm gonna actually use this green on green stripe for my top border. Goes across the top. I'm going to use the holly for my 10 circles that go across. And then because I want there to be that contrast, the next bigger circle is going to be the white holly. I might use the back. I haven't decided yet. It's kind of hard with these when they have a directional pattern, but I think I'm going to use this. I'm going to use all the 3 hollies, and then I'm going to use the red for the far outside. And I'm going to use some of these pieces for the bottom strips, and then the green, which happens to be the back of this red, for my bottom strips. I haven't quite figured that all out yet. We're going to do this together. So let's start with our 2 3 by 12 inch strips that are going to be the border across the top. let's see how big this paper is. I have 7.5. So this is going to leave me, after I cut 2 3-inch strips, about 1.5 inches. So that might work great, because I think what I'm going to do then is take this 1.5 inch piece that's left, and I'm going to cut it in half at 3/4 inches. And that's going to be my bottom piece to go across the bottom. So that I've got this, the 2 3-inch top borders and my 2 3/4 inch by 12-inch strips. So that's just going to be with this. As you can see, you don't need whole pieces of paper for all of this. So we'll get that out of the way. Now we start cutting the circles, and this is where it gets a little time consuming, but it's all really worth it. So for this one, I'm doing the medium circle with the red blade on the inside. All right, so hopefully you know how to use the custom cutting system. One of the tricks is just always make sure that both of your little peg feet are in the groove, because that's when people have issues with their paper ripping, it's because one of these little pegs isn't in the groove, and that will just, you know, mess everything up. So you do want to be as frugal with your paper as possible. Because I might use this green for the bottom and I want to have it go this direction, I think I'm going to try and save this, this edge of the paper as best I can. So I'm going to cut up here, keep my both feet in the groove to cut my 10. And I don't actually pick the blade up out of the pattern when I move to cut, so that way I know that it doesn't get, doesn't come out of those grooves. Okay, now I'm going to be sure to close my blade up. Well, actually, I'm going to use the red blade for my next cut, so I don't need to do that. But I'm going to pull my 10 circles and set these aside. And then I'm going to cut my next one, which I want to do out of this white. And this one's a little counterintuitive, because we're cutting the medium circle for our design, but we want to use the biggest pattern. So we're using the large circle, again with the red blade on the inside. And since I'm just cutting one, it's easier to be a little frugal with my paper. I always like to make sure before I pick this up to make sure that I've gone all the way around, because once you pick it up, it's really hard to reposition it, but you can kind of see the piece you've cut out move once it's cut all the way through. Okay, now I'm going to really close this one. And then I'm going to do my last paper out of this red. And this one we're using the smallest circle, which again, backwards, because we're going to use the blue blade, which if you notice has the blade is farther away from the pegs. And so that gives you a greater distance. Oh, come on. Hard to do that hanging up in the air. Greater distance from the circle. And we just need one of these. Whoops. Okay, I tore that one a little bit. I must have had my blade. Either my blade is getting old, or I kind of tipped it at an angle and started to lift it up a little too soon, which sometimes you do. But we're going to be able to hide that just fine. All right, so now we're done with the circles and the blades. Be sure to close those up. And now a lot of it is just assembly. I want to use, I have some of this green left over, and I want to use this for my 1/4 inch strips. I think I'm going to use this for my 1/4 inch strips on both the top and the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 4 12 by 1/4 inch strips. Now the 1/4 inch is just the edge of the gray cutting mat on your CM trimmer. So, and when it's a skinny size like this, sometimes the paper likes to slide, so be sure to kind of hold it firmly so that your paper doesn't scoot, because that will give you a crooked cut. And 4. And I can tell by the feel that my mat is ready to be turned. So I'm going to pick this up and show it to you. Can you see how torn up that mat is? I can tell by the feel. I can tell that my pieces aren't cutting as cleanly as I would like. And so this is going to be my cue to flip over this mat to the next blade. And I probably should have done that before we started filming so that you guys wouldn't have to have some scraggly edges. Okay, so now the only other thing I need is the 1/2 inch strip, and I think I'm going to use this white again. And I'm actually going to look at the back and just see the direction of it and cut it this way in case I decide to use the other side. I don't think I'm going to. Oh, that cuts so much nicer when the mat is new. But I just want to have that option, okay? So those are all the pieces, and now we have to do a little cutting on the circles. One of the things that's great about the 12-inch trimmer is that the blade, the cutting line is circled between these 2 little raised grooves. So you can see how that's kind of raised up. We've got this little lip. So when you put your circle in it and you just kind of balance it in that circle, it's going to cut exactly in half every time. Now it doesn't work with every side circle, and even with this one it doesn't quite go through with the 1/2 inch circle, but it mostly goes through. And you can do 2 at a time if you want. I'm usually too afraid to mess up, so I just, I'll be brave. I'll cut through 2 at a time. And now I'm just going to take my scissors and follow that cutting line. You see, I just line it up with my blade and just snip the edge off. And that will, I don't know if I want to do them stacked. That will give me all my 1/2 circles that I need for this layout. Okay, now we're going to do the same with the medium-sized circle. I haven't done video in a while, and it feels like my camera's not in the same spot as I'm used to having it. All right, this one I think cuts all the way through because it doesn't dip quite down as far. So that one easily cuts all the way through. And then this is the one where I kind of messed up. Actually, it looks like my my blade even started to go off the track because I got a little wispy right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that the piece where I cut so it can be hidden on the edge when we line all these pieces up together. So you could always recut that if you wanted to, if it really was going to bother you, but you don't need to. All right. So now we're going to take our tape runner. Now, there are lots of people that like the repositionable tape runner, especially for a project like this. I'm just old-fashioned, I guess, and I love my regular tape runner. I love the security of knowing that what I put down is going to stay down. So we're going to start, oh, that's kind of cute too, isn't it? We're going to start with the 3-inch wide border at the top. Actually, I'll do it on the bottom and then flip it over. No, I'll do it at the top because you can't see if I do it on the bottom. Seriously, you'd think I'd never made a YouTube video before. Not quite sure what's going on here. How about this? There we go. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and work across both pages. You could, of course, absolutely do this as a single page layout. You would just need fewer of the smallest circle. I'm not exactly sure how many, maybe 5 or 6. And then of course just one each of these other pieces. So I'll go ahead and put these at the bottom, just get all these little strips. Okay, I want to line up so that the patterns match. You see that? So I'm going to flip it around so that my stripes align with each other. And again, I want to make sure that you guys know this is not my layout idea. This is an idea that was given to us by Creative Memories, designed by one of our product designers. And just, you know, they give us all sorts of resources as advisors to help us teach classes. Now this one, this little 1/4 inch, I'm gonna do a trick that I learned from, I think this came from Sachio Omitsu, who is one of our super talented designers. And what she does when she has a bunch of little skinny things to tape together is she just butts them up against each other and then uses her repositionable and just kind of goes over the seam, and that way she can get adhesive on both without any going off the edge. And so I love that idea. So I'm going to do it with both of them, but it worked out well just to do 2 at a time. And because it's that repo, uh-oh, I was going to have the green show. Okay, because it's the reposition, well, too late now. Because it's the repositionable, you can put the adhesive on, and any extra that pokes off the side will just rub off. Okay, this is going to be one of those no mistakes, just happy accidents. I had intended to have the green stripe be the one that was showing, and not the little holly berries. Oh, but see that now I really do kind of wonder about which to do here. All right, I think I'm going to change this up too, and instead of using the holly, I'm going to use this white chevron. And that's why I did try when I was cutting it to make sure that I cut it so that the chevrons would be in a pleasing way. I don't think I would have liked it as well if I would have cut it the other direction with the chevrons going across, because I did want to have the option of, you know, changing my mind. I didn't know I was going to need to have that option because I messed up on the first adhesive. Unfortunately, what happens with the repositionable adhesive is that although it will come off your paper if you've made a mistake, it does tend to pull the design up. It's kind of odd. So these I'm going to set aside because we are going to do those last. Now we're going to start the fun, and we're going to take our big circle, our medium circle, and one of the small circles. And all you're going to do is take the biggest circle and we're going to make something like this. And okay, I didn't cut that the way I like. I don't know. You guys aren't here to vote. If this was on Facebook Live, I'd let you vote. Should I use the chevrons or should I use the leaves? I kind of like the chevrons. I didn't plan to. I planned to use the leaves. But I think I'm going to use the chevrons. And what you're going to do is you're going to put this medium circle on top of the large circle, and you're going to attach the corners. So this is not attach the corners, but touch the corners. So you see, this is where my paper kind of messed up a little bit. And so now I'm just going to cover it right up with this next piece. Align the bottom edge, and then do the same with one of your smaller pieces. Okay, and then you do the exact same design. Don't reverse it, don't do anything else. You want to make 2 identical half circle patterns. All right, so you've got these 2 identical half circles, but when you flip this guy over, that is where the magic happens. So you see how it makes this kind of S shape? So that's what we're gonna do, is we're gonna position these, I'm not exactly sure how the positioning is supposed to be. Let's look at the picture. Looks like they have it set so you start with one of these small circles here and then put the next piece here. But you can do it how you want. This one that I did, I just kind of plunked it down in the middle. Well, I guess that's the same. I guess that's the same as that. But you know, that to me is too far in the middle. I want this over to the side. So I think I'm gonna mix things up and I'm going to put this all the way to the side. I think I am. And of course you can do whatever you want with this. You can position it how you want. But because I have this 3-inch piece on here, there's a little bit of a lip. So when I put this on, I just butt it up against it and it's going to be perfectly straight. All right, that's still kind of bothering me right there where I messed up. And then you're going to take the rest of these little half circles and just position them again using this line that you're balancing against this 3-inch line. And you can make this layout with any paper pack. You could do it with all cardstock if you wanted, although this would get pretty thick if you were doing it with cardstock. So, all right, and we're not going to worry about the end right here yet. Now I'm going to butt this up on this side, and it doesn't matter if there's a little line because we're going to cover that up. All right, now what I'm going to do here, where I've gone off the edge, actually I'm going to, well, I don't want to cut them both together. I'm going to take my scissors and just carefully trim this guy off so that I can use it. Put an extra little piece on here. Right here so that my design continues across the double page layout. And we'll do the same right here. You see, it's not quite exactly centered. The half circles aren't quite exactly centered on each other. No, I didn't quite cut that straight. And so you just continue along using this straight edge where you cut this 3-inch border to help you position these straight. You wouldn't want to do this with a pattern like the stripe would be difficult because it'd be really hard to cut the half circles so that the stripes lined up. Now you might not mind. I mean, the one where I did that little chevron, when it's done, I'll show it to you. It actually turned out pretty cute. So maybe that would be okay. But in my head, I feel like it wouldn't look as good if you were to do it with a directional pattern. This works great for an all over pattern or even a solid. I'm not quite cut all the way through with my custom cutting system. I was cutting in a hurry. And so you see, this just kind of makes this snake-like design. So this is a great way to get a very different look from your circles than you are used to getting. I think I'm going to have 1 or 2 pieces left over just because of the way I did this. All right. So there's my piece. Again, I'm going to go off the edge. And okay, this isn't going to work. I am going to need this other little half circle that I have to fill in the last spot right here. And I just bump it up against the edge of the circle right here. So you kind of leave this swirl. Oops, sorry. So you leave the swirl open. I mean, you could cover it up, I guess, if you wanted to. You could probably, you know, if you wanted to put your circle, you know, all the way across. But I love the swirl. Okay, now we're going to take our last 1/4 inch piece, and on the other side I messed it up. So this time I'm going to make sure I put the adhesive on the side I don't want to show. And again, I'm going to use my repositionable across both pieces at the same time. And that way both of these 1/4 inch strips get the adhesive. There's no waste, there's no excess. And so this works great, especially if you do little teeny tiny, like 1/8 of an inch strips. It's a fun technique. And I'm just going to line this here across the middle. Of both of these pieces, and that hides any imperfections, you know, if you were a smidge crooked or they didn't line up quite right. All right, so here you go. This is the swirl layout with the Joy to the World paper. All right, so now we get to do the fun part, the embellishing part, and of course your pictures. So this would work the way that they have it, I think, in the original. They must not have used 4x6. They must have done a smaller size, like 4 and, I don't know, 3 3/4 or something. But so these are 4x6 photos, you know, simulations of a photo. It fits perfectly with a 4x6 in here. Not width-wise, we'd want to narrow it out, but or you could do a 3x4. I love those. Sometimes when you crop your photos down, you can get a 3x4 out of instead of a 4x6, depending on how you crop it. So let's do that with a 3x4. I don't love that it's touching my thing, so maybe I'll do it like this. Or a 4x5, you know, you could stagger that. You could even put it down there if you wanted. And of course, don't be afraid to cover up this design. The purpose of scrapbooking is not, whoa, that was thunder. Now, you guys saw me jump. The purpose of scrapbooking is not to show off all your pretty paper, even though we love that. You could very easily put, you know, another picture up here. I know a lot of us love to get lots of pictures on a page. You know, you could put this, you could have one of these. You know, feel free to put as many pictures on here as you need to. And then you're going to want to put some embellishments just to kind of decorate it up. Again, optional, you don't have to. You want to leave some space for a title block, maybe 2 or something like that. But it looks really cute if you put some kind of, oh, look how cute this little fireplace is. Maybe I'll put this little fireplace down here. And I've got all this kind of holly stuff. So do I want to put, I don't know if I want to put something like that. I don't think I would use this as a, as like a mantle type thing. But, and I would probably pop this up on some foam squares with another, maybe put this down like this, and I think that could be cute. All right, so wouldn't this be a fun Christmas Eve layout? Oops, a little bit. Scoot it over. But there you go. We like to do decor in kind of a triangle, visual triangle. So because I have this and this, I need something up here. So maybe I'll do this with just these little bells. All right, 3 embellishments in odd numbers tend to look better. So, but you do it how you like, you do you. Maybe put some little bling on here. But I think that turned out really pretty. I'm gonna take the photo mats off just so you can see again what the layout looks like before you start putting all the things on it. But I think it's just a very lovely layout, so versatile. I've seen it done Christmas, I've seen it done with fall, I've seen it done with baby, I've seen it done with that theme park that must not be named. All of them have turned out so beautifully. So if you create this layout, I would love to see it. Again, remember that this part you can put where you want. You don't have to put it all the way off to the side like I did. I just felt like when I did it here, it took up more kind of valuable real estate. I guess you could do it like this if you wanted to. You know, it depends a lot on your photos. But this can be anywhere. You could put it on that side and just work around it, choose where you want it. But any paper pack that you have, this will work great for, and you don't have to have the full pack because, you know, we, especially like the 2 bigger circles, we didn't need, you know, we didn't need the whole paper. So once again, here are the pieces that you need. You need the 2 base pieces, the 2 3-inch top borders, 10 of the smallest circle, 1 of the middle circle, and 1 of the biggest circle, and then those 2 1/4" by 12-inch strips to go across here, and then down here at the bottom, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, and 3/4 inch. All right, you see we put the 1/2 inch, and then the 1/4, and then the 3/4, and I think it looks lovely, and I hope you do too. Thanks so much for watching and for being such loyal fans of my channel and letting me have a few weeks off for the holidays with my college daughters home. Thanks very much. I hope to be back very soon. Happy scrapbooking.